Do, 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 do. Hello, everybody. My name is Rodgon. I am an artist. I'm a designer. I draw cool things. And today we are going to be drawing together. So, just a little uh, preview of what we were doing yesterday on our stream over on Instagram. We were just going over what the things that I did during my break. So I had a little bit of a break because I was getting burnt out and I was getting tired of just doing the things that I was doing. So I decided that I was going to change things and I decided to take a break from things. And now that I'm back, let's do something fun. I want you guys all to grab your sketchbooks because I'm literally just going to fill up this whole page with legs. And we're going to learn how to draw legs in several different ways. Okay. For some reason, I just feel like giving a leg lesson. Maybe I'm just feeling like I'm lacking a little bit in that sense. So I want to review my own knowledge and I want to be able to learn something while I teach you guys as well. So with legs, we're going to have a couple components to these body parts. Okay. And we're going to walk through it and we're going to talk a little bit about each part and what each part means and how to build each part. It'll be a nice video. All right. So the first parts that we identify as part of the leg are the thigh, the bottom part, the calf, shins, and the feet. Right? Yeah, you can break that down into toes as well, but we'll keep it as feet for now. So these, oh, and the kneecap, the knee, of course the knee. Boom, boom. So these muscles and these bone structures are what make a leg a leg. What is confusing to us is that whenever we are taught how to draw things, for the most part, it's very normal to start off learning how to draw things with cylinders and cones. Right? It's very common that we learn how to draw our basic structures like this. The problem is that going from this to this, or back and forth, or trying to stylize it in any way, is going to be quite difficult if you maintain the mentality of cylinders and cones. Because it's just really, it's not hard to break it down after you draw it, but it doesn't really give you all the information that you need. It's quite limiting when it comes down to that. So for rudimentary drawings, when you start drawing, in general, this is a good approach because it teaches you the value of seeing things in 3 dimensions, right? You start seeing these elements as elements in 3-dimensional space, and that's how you're able to map out things like this later on a lot easier. But once you're able to actually understand this, the next thing you gotta do is actually start analyzing the complex shapes that incorporate your body parts. Because they stop being so simple. They stop being the simple cylinders and cones. They start being complex shapes that combine with each other to be able to create, the complex body that you have to draw. And that's why it's hard to be an artist. Because we have a lot of knowledge that, comes down to even anatomical structures. And it's not just about drawing, it's about understanding what you're drawing. All right, so the first thing that I like to do whenever I'm trying to teach anyone how to draw legs is how legs actually come out of our body, right? legs come, and excuse the simple anatomy that I'm going to be using, but you guys will get the idea. So we have our bone structure. This is our spine. This is our hip bone that I like to break down into this simple shape. It's like a beanbag, but it's kind of like a flat, like a potato chip, kind of. It just wraps around with a little bit of thickness. Out of these, our legs come out at an angle with a big fat bone. They come out, then the bone comes back in, and then it goes into your kneecap. Okay? So when you're drawing legs, the body part, it doesn't come out whenever you're drawing your bodies. Let's say we're doing like the beanbag torso that we've been like teaching in the other streams. If you guys don't know what the beanbag body system is, go watch some of my other anatomy streams. You guys will like enjoy learning how to draw cool poses with just a beanbag. So we have. No, I'm not gonna take any. Not gonna take any lives. So sorry. It just detracts from the. So like, not to be rude, but I just don't feel like it. All right, so beanbag structure to create a rib cage, a pelvic, pelvic bone, and then the legs coming slightly from the side and then down. Now, that's going to look really weird to you guys for the most part right now, because you guys aren't used to seeing the body have this positioning. Normally, when we draw things, we just draw the legs coming down, right? We normally do this without much thought into how that bone structure is going to be set in there. We just kind of draw the leg coming down from the sides, and then we can draw the underwear. And then, that's really cool. You can keep on doing that. But within this is that same bone structure, and that's what's giving you those hips. That bone that sticks out, that's your hips. Like a combination of the width of your pelvic bone and the width of your thigh bone is what's going to give you width. So if your pelvic bone is like that, but your thigh bone is really wide, that's when you get those thick thighs. Right? That's how you get those those beach babe thighs that everybody likes to draw on their pinups and stuff. Without that, let's say we have that same pelvic structure. Without that width, it's still appealing, but it's just different because it's not that wide. Right? So that's how you create width within our thighs. This is the difference between men and women as well. With women, you want to overemphasize this. With men, you can easily just draw the pelvic and then straight up draw it down. Like with men, the less that you emphasize that, the better. It's just when it comes down to drawing, that is just a feminine trait that is going to create a feminine look to your design. So the less that you do that, it's still there. It's still a very minimal, but with men, it's much more straight down. So men, women. And this is a generalization of naming a general idea of how to draw a male and a female. This is not to call genders, and this is not to offend anybody, and that's not to say that all men look like that and all women look like that. Please. This is just for educational drawing purposes, not intended to offend anybody at all. Okay? This is just a straight up generalization of how human bodies are meant for the two halves that are normally drawn in comics and stuff, or whatever you want to draw yourself. All right, so you guys can combine these to make whatever genders you guys are. Okay, so then we go back to this. Now, since we have this understanding of the bone structure, how do we go on to drawing it onto the actual body? Well, we already have the guidelines and the peaks of where we want our bodies to be. And it's just a matter of encompassing this in the shape of the thigh that we want. It's crazy you have to say that while drawing. I know it is. Like, nah, man, like, you'd be surprised. Like I have gotten, like, straight up hate mail whenever I say that. When I do, like, general guides about, like, how to draw men, how to draw women, you get so much hate. Like, it honestly, like, makes me not want to do that sort of videos. Just because of how many people seem to get offended by me generalizing terms. And it's nuts to me. Because this is, like, I'm not saying you can't draw yourself any way you want. I'm just trying to teach people how to do a general thing. But, you know, hey, that's why I say these things. So let's move on. The shape that you draw on top of your bone is going to be a mixture of a couple things. The first part is going to be the thigh muscle, right? The thigh muscle is going to be like a big piece of sushi on top of your leg. That's essentially what the thigh muscle is. A big piece of sushi. And that piece of sushi wraps around the front bone. So that big piece of sushi goes all the way to the front, and it ends at your kneecap. So, big piece of sushi. This is going to have 3-dimensional depth as well, right? This is going to be wrapping around our thigh, or around our leg, and it's going to end up in the other side. Underneath this big piece of sushi, where you would have your rice, I guess, will be the underside of your leg. This part is going to be at the top connected to where your booty goes. Yeah, the booty isn't part of the bone, so this is not part of where the butt goes. The butt is a muscle on top of that, right? So you add the muscle on top of that. That connects to the back of your leg. This also has depth, but it's going to be different, so we're going to just shade it right now. And then the butt, or gluteus muscle, also wraps around to the back. Once we have that, it can be simplified by booty, back of the leg, and piece of sushi. Into your kneecap. Right? Boop, doo, 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 doo. Piece of sushi. And then after that, you would go in and add the bottom part of your leg. And we'll talk about that in a second, but we'll move on to here in a second. But that's how I visualize the top of the leg. Now, if you're seeing this from the front, Let's make another example right here. If you're seeing the leg from the front, and we'll just focus on the top part of the leg for now, but I'll indicate the bottom part so you know how it connects. The piece of sushi extends all the way to the edge when you see it from the front. I like a little curvature right here on the front, on the top, to give space for your kneecap. When you see this from the side, you already drew it over here, but we'll redraw it over here. We're going to have our piece of sushi all the way from the top of our thigh. It wraps a little bit and just leaves a little bit underneath with a little bit of a curvature to allow for the kneecap. And then from this view, you see a little bit of the lower leg and then the butt. I guess the booty would like pop out a little bit from it, depending on how big the booty is, but it'd be like that. Now this wraps around, goes around, and then from here, the calf muscles in the back, they don't start down here. They actually connect up here, and then this muscle is on top of that. So they don't start at the edge like we would assume. They actually start a little bit about the back of the kneecap, the top of the kneecap. That's around where the calf muscle starts connecting. Okay? That is one big thing that people just get wrong. Boom. So, then you have your drawing. It should look something like this. With the thigh muscle being on top like a piece of armor, so you get that little overlap, the kneecap, and then it goes down from there. And that's how you do, that's how you represent this. If you want to get into more detail, you can always add a little indication of the front side of the sushi, and then split the sushi in half from the front if you want to add more muscles there. And then that's just a matter of understanding how the muscle structures work and then be able to enhance those. But that comes with understanding anatomy, and that comes with understanding how ligaments work, and that's a different level, right? That's like sometimes much more than you will ever have to like learn as an artist unless you're going into like comic books. And even then, most people just go with a generalized anatomy. So, getting to this level, not absolutely necessary. Getting to this level of understanding, much easier. Now, if we rotate this even more, we're starting to start seeing everything from behind. How does everything connect in the back? Taking into consideration that we have that same general shape, right? Boom. We're still going to have the little curvature, but in the back, it's going to be actually brought up considerably to the top of where the kneecap would be, because that's where the calf muscle connects, remember? That's where the back muscle connects. Then you draw the front of the leg, and then you can draw a little bit of the kneecap, the sushi part. A little bit. That wraps around, because you would still see it because it's a predominant muscle. And then this is the back of the leg, connecting to where the butt is. The calf muscle is also a complicated muscle, but you can normally just think of it as a little stepping stone in the back of your leg. Like the little muscle is the only thing that's kind of like complex. But once you get the hang of, drawing a little tiny diamond in the back of your calves, tends to get a lot easier. That takes time. You forgot that behind the knee goes inward before the calf muscle shows. Yeah, I mean, you can leave that little gap right there. I'm just generalizing it so I don't complicate it even more for people that are trying to learn the basics, though. So if you start, thinking of all the pockets and all the ligaments and all the tendons and all the folds, it's going to complicate it a lot more for people that don't really understand this. So even though I do agree with you that there are flesh pockets and little tiny bumps and stuff like that that come from like the different muscle structures here, generalizing it to a certain extent is necessary when teaching it because not everybody is to that level of understanding. So I'm trying to teach it for people that can get a little bit out of it when they are advanced and also get a lot from it whenever they're not. The reason that I do all these lessons and things for people is because back when I was learning how to be an artist, I had nothing. I had no resources. I didn't have anybody to ask things and like stuff. So I decided that I was going to be the artist that I wished that I had met when I was starting to be an artist. And that's been literally my goal, like throughout my whole career. All right, so let's see. Other complicated things that come from the upper thigh. Actually, not much, but if we are going to look at it from a slightly different angle, let's say we're looking at the inside of the thigh instead of the outside of the thigh. So we're looking at this part, right? And the inside of the thigh, we have what I like to call the squish zone. And why do I like to call it the squish zone? It's because that's the part that squishes against your body whenever your legs are doing anything like pressing against your body. So let's say we have a person with like a yoga pose, right? The squish zone in the inside of the thigh is what's gonna squish against your pelvic bone, creating those very nice little squishy like lines that you get. So this little area, if you consider it like, we consider our biceps or we consider our triceps or our shoulders, give it another set of importance within the leg. Remember that it's there so that whenever you find yourself in situations where you get to use it, you can. Let's see, other things that are important for that section. Well, the squish zone is nice for when you want to like create like sensual poses because everything is just getting like pushed into that area. And it creates an air of seduction. Let's see, but other than like doing stuff like that, it's kind of like just also necessary when you're doing anything like stockings or anything like that. Because when you're drawing them, you want to give the appearance of weight. And, what you do is you take sections of your body that would be slightly softer, like that part, as opposed to the harsh muscle in the back, and then create a crease to create the essence of pressure into the skin. And that would create a little bit of a crease in your leg. Right? And that leg is bending the wrong way. Okay, so let's see. What else have we not talked about? I gotta go get my laundry, so I gotta like wrap this up in a second. Let's see. we'll talk a little bit about how the ankle connects to the leg. This was actually like something that really made a big difference when I was like learning. The ankle, if you think about it, is very, very, very much so connected directly to the floor, right? Have our calf, have our leg, we have our kneecap, and we have a piece of sushi. Boom. So when you have your leg, your ankle, your calf, so this is going to lead into your ankle, which consists of a little pivoting area. So I like to think about it like a little, like a mannequin leg, consisting of your heel, which does not stick out so far from going straight down on your body. It doesn't go like super out, it just goes a little bit out. From here, we have the front part of the foot, in which I like to simplify at first, like a half cone, like an ice cream cone, cut it in half. And you have that. This overlaps and is going around this shape. Remember, this shape is two shapes, the heel and then the cone. When you do that from the front, you have your mannequin section. We have your half cone, so we're going to draw a cone. We're going to split it in half, and we're going to draw just the top going down. And then our heel wouldn't be seen from the front, so that's all we draw for that part. From the back, you have your leg, your calf muscle, your mannequin section, your heel that's on the floor, and then we do the same thing. We draw a cone, and then we just draw the bottom shape because it's only half a cone. Boom. It's another fun way to do it. When you simplify this even more, you can go like that from the front. You can do that from the side, or doing different things like bending over. Now maybe like a cool superhero pose, so you want to like incorporate a little bit of a dynamic perspective. Even with simple, super cartoony like features, it still works really nice. And when you want to give it shoes, all you got to do is have your shape and then wrap things around your shape. And then you have shoes. But this way of thinking and the ease at which this comes only happens when you are understanding that this shape is not just 3 lines. This is all a 3-dimensional set of shapes that allows me to wrap things around it. Right? It allows me to create elements in 3-dimensional space on top of it. It's not just squiggles. I'm not thinking like that. I'm thinking about how do I make this look great? And not just in this view, but now I know how this wraps around, so I can draw this in the front view now. Okay? It's very important that you start visualizing things as three-dimensional shapes. That is essentially the difference between a person that can visualize things easy or a person that is still requiring a style to be able to create these things. The thing is, learning a process in which to create proper anatomy is going to lead to be able to create this in any style you want. So let's just take the same general foot shape and let's play around with what we can do with those in different styles. So let's say that we want to create, I don't know, a monster's foot. Right? Same concept. All right, so we have a monster's foot. Now, let's say we want, I don't know, like a skater. Like, shoot, I like Converse, so I'm going to draw some Converse going around my leg. Again, these are all three-dimensional shapes that I'm just wrapping around. Right, and then, I don't know, maybe like a space, like armor type of thing. Like Iron Man. You can incorporate this into a lot of different things. And, it's just a basis structure that you can modify and stylize in any way you want. It's a matter of understanding what you're actually drawing as opposed to just drawing for drawing's sake. And that is essentially what's going to take you from being an ordinary artist to someone that learns how to teach themselves. And once you learn how to teach yourself, nothing's going to stop you. You're literally boundless. So take into consideration little tips and tricks from every source. I'm not saying that I am the sole source of any sort of knowledge. And I don't claim to be like the best person, artist in the world either. But I do have a knack for teaching, and I am glad that you guys are here to witness and to learn and to, actually put into practice the things that I teach. Now, if you do want to support, share any piece of artwork and tag me and show me and just flood me with fan art. That would be so cool. And also, if you want to catch on any of these streams as well, most of them are on YouTube. And I also have about 4,000 posts on Instagram, all worth taking a look at if you are looking to be a better artist. I don't pitch Patreon. I don't pitch any of that shit. Okay? I'm here to help you guys out, not to make money off of you. But if you do want to feel like you want to support and help a person like me, you can subscribe to my channels so that you get all the information as well. And it also helps me be able to milk these Google ads for as much as I can so I can make this into a living. All right? So don't skip those ads. Watch them. They pay me. All right, everybody. That's all you really need to do for me. I love you all. I'll catch you guys probably tomorrow. I'm feeling good about streaming again. I know I was away for for a month, but I'm back. Keep your eyes out probably tomorrow around the same time, and I will see you all next time. Later.